If you've ever tried to get a smooth line or blend with acrylic paints and ended up with a dry, streaky, textured mess, don't worry, you're not alone. Acrylics can be a bit tricky, but today I've got 5 really simple tips to help make your acrylic paint so much smoother. You'll go from this to this in no time. My first tip is to use a soft synthetic brush. Stiff or coarse paintbrushes are great for creating texture, but they can make it really hard to get clean, smooth lines. A softer brush will glide across the surface and give you a much smoother application. I use soft synthetic brushes all the time in my art, and it really helps to create soft blends and smoother lines. The second tip I want to share is really simple, but it makes a huge difference. Soak your brush in water before you start painting. You don't want it to be dripping wet, but making sure your brush is damp will help to make the paint flow better and stop it from drying instantly on your bristles, which is a huge cause of dry streaks. Soaking your brush in water before applying paint will also help to protect your paintbrushes, so it's a win-win. My next tip is to try adding a medium to your paints. Acrylic straight out of the tube can be quite thick and fast drying, which doesn't help when you're going for smooth lines. Products like Flow Aid or slow dry mediums can make the paint glide more easily onto your canvas. These mediums will maintain the colour strength and stability of the paints, while at the same time making them much more fluid and easy to apply. Make sure you check the labels of the medium that you are using to ensure that you use it correctly. For example, the Flow Aid that I'm using here needs to be diluted with water before adding it to the paint, whereas some mediums can be added directly to your palette. Tip number 4 is to keep your paints wet while you work. Acrylics dry super fast, and once they start to dry they can get tacky and hard to work with, creating dry streaks on your canvas. There are a number of ways that you can keep your acrylics wet for longer, including using a wet palette, spraying your paints with water, and adding slow drying mediums. I've created a whole video with my best tips for keeping acrylic paints wet for longer, so I'll add a link to that in the description below. This last tip makes such a huge difference. Prep your canvas by applying gesso and then sanding it. This helps even if you're using a pre-prepped canvas. Canvas is naturally rough, so it can be tricky if you're after smooth lines. Have you ever noticed those little white dots after applying your paint? They're caused by the texture of the canvas. This tip will help to make those go away. Just add a layer of gesso onto your canvas using a brush. Wait for it to fully dry, and then lightly sand it down using fine grit sandpaper. This will give you a much smoother surface to paint on, making the paint glide across the canvas without getting caught on the texture. If you want your canvas to be extra smooth, just repeat this step a few more times. If you combine all of these tips together, you'll be creating extra smooth lines with your acrylic paints. I hope you found these techniques helpful and that they give you more confidence in your brushwork. Don't forget to like and subscribe to see more art tips and tricks like these.